Greetings and welcome to today's show. I'm Dr. Espen. Today I'm here with Santos Bonacci. And this is going to be an interesting interview because Santos is a guy that I've been following for some time. And what he teaches is something that is quite synchronous to what I've been studying for some time now. And in fact, it has a very synchronous name, which is Syncretism, which Santos refers to as the true theology. Santos, for over 30 years now, has been studying the ancient works and researching and compiling the different translation of texts throughout the world to produce an easier one-stop shop understanding of what he calls AstroTheology. The information brought together, platforms all over the world, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and it brings what Santos refers to as a universal truth. Where syncretism shows us how all the ancient legendary schools, myths, stories, Bibles, fairy tales, all the things that we've heard about have one common origin, which is why I'm so excited to have this conversation. So I'd like to introduce you to Santos and for us to go on a journey today and have a little chat about what syncretism is. So first of all, welcome, brother. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks. Thank you for having me on. And my prayers and my thoughts are with you guys in Australia. I don't know how it came to be that, well, I do know, 2 years ago in August of 2019, when I left from Melbourne, I flew to San Francisco and ended up in Mexico, and I'm thankful because I happened to end up in the best place in the world. And where I left behind, I already started seeing some bad signs. I went to see my son in Melbourne in September of 2019. And I went to the cafes I used to go to when I was a street performer right in the heart of Melbourne. And I know all the owners, and so I was sitting down at a cafe once, and I saw the policeman just walking around asking people for their details, and I thought, what is going on here? I've never seen this before. They're just stopping people and harassing people, and I thought to myself, oh my God, this doesn't look good. And then now I'm seeing all that's going on there, and it's just my interview I did with Thanos got taken off. I got a YouTube strike for that, so I'm on 2 strikes. Next strike, they shut my channel down.
Oh, I'm hearing you, buddy. And of course, this is on these exact channels. So we'll have a gentle conversation. Let's put it that way. And then we're going to hop into the uncensored version on Dr. ETV. You guys will see the link in the chat section. If you want to hop into the uncensored version, Santos is going to have a chance to say what he really wants to say. My first question to you, brother, is this: what was the catalyst for this syncretism journey for you?
I guess I got bored with conventional Christianity. I was Jehovah's Witness for the best part of 3 decades. And the sort of books that I was reading, the average witness would not dare read. So I guess slowly but surely I put things together. And in 2007, all the connections began. I became vegetarian, which also cleared my thinking. Becoming vegetarian really, really just cleared my thinking, and the syncretism just poured in every day ever since then until today, every single day. And what happened was I realized that I'd been paying more attention than I thought I was. My teachers always said to me that I would be the ruin of them. One teacher used to, in primary school, he used to grab me by the back of the hair and pull me up and say degrading things to me. Then in secondary school, I got the cuts where they'd give you whack with a whip on the hands. I got that so many times. The teachers hated me. So I was unteachable basically, and because I was just so bored with their boredom and and not learning anything. So I'm an autodidact, and so I guess everything I've learned, music. I've been a professional musician all my life. Music, languages, astronomy, astrology. That's all self-taught. All the things that I do, I didn't go to any academy, and I'm not an academic in that sense. But I am intelligent. I think that's intelligence, to think things through and clearly, not deeply, but clearly. So I just discovered that I'd been paying more attention, and I wasn't the dunce that my teachers kept saying that I was going to be. You know, you'll never amount to anything. And my father used to call me stupid all the time. He never called me by my name. My father was always calling me a stupid idiot, always. That's the Calabrian way of raising your children, to call them idiots.
Crazy. You know, sometimes I see that with a lot of visionaries. They've been shut down and minimized in the earlier stages of life. And as they then evolve and as they grow, and I had a similar story. I couldn't read. I was illiterate. And you know, I was trying to read in school, and all the letters would just move around, and I would tear up. And I couldn't read. It was just all blurry. And then all the kids would laugh, and I would, you know, think that I was stupid as well. And of course, you know, in the void drives the value. What we perceive as missing is what we seek. And so here we are. And you've amassed a tremendous following. You know, you've been on the news a lot. I've seen some really good stuff. And even recently, I went to a festival, and I was having the conversation with the man about energy, and which I teach basically quantum physics and metaphysics and consciousness, if you will. And he brought up your name, and I said, "Yeah, I know of Santos's work, and I know of syncretism, etc." So it's interesting. Your messages are spreading. People worldwide are starting to talk about this. So perhaps you can give us a little bit of a context as to what it is that you teach, the syncretism. What is the basic understanding for those listeners out there that might never have heard about this before? What is it that you do?
Syncretism enables everyone, one and all, to unify and integrate and interrelate all fields of human knowledge. It gives you the power to be able to understand Christianity, Judaism, Kabbalah, astrology, not believe in them. It doesn't persuade you. It doesn't seduce you into a certain exclusive path like Christianity or Judaism. It doesn't do that, but it enables you to understand them. You see, I don't believe in Italian. I speak Italian. So I don't need to be persuaded to believe that it exists and that it is a language, because I know it is. So knowing does not persuade you. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't... the churches tell you, you shouldn't read the other books, the books of the Mormons. They will take you to hell. There's Jehovah's Witnesses. They will seduce you. And so syncretism enables you to understand that everything is simple. So essentially what I'm doing, what you come away with when you watch all of my videos is that nature is simple. It's not complicated. The atom is simple. The universe is simple. The universe is only electromagnetic. It's made of pulses and waves. There are no particles. It's not a pulse. It's not a particle wave universe. It's a pulse wave universe. The pulses are radial waves, longitudinal, scalar, standing. There are many other ways to call them. This is called radiation. Radiation produces an effect called vibration. Vibration is rooted in víbora, the serpent, in Spanish. Víbora, vibración, vibration comes from serpent. They have the same root, because the vibration, electricity, that's a transverse wave. That's the other kind of wave. But this wave is evil because it's good and evil, hot and cold, boy and girl, night and dark, summer and winter, left and right, north and south, east and west. This wave is where all of the demiurgic, dualistic, polarized world of the demiurge exists in this decaying wave. This wave always decays. Yeah. When you're listening to your favorite radio station in the city and you're driving out to the country, after a half an hour or so, the waves begin to diminish and it starts crackling, and you cannot hear the music anymore because they're using transverse waves which decay. If they were using radial waves are always expanding. Like when you drop a stone in a pond, you create a ripple, a circle, which is always growing, because magnetism is magnitude. It's magnificent. It's magical. See, if they were using that wave that Tesla wanted for the world, and Marconi and all the greats, then we wouldn't have what's called built-in obsolescence, planned obsolescence. So you buy a fridge, it's only planned to go for 4 years. You buy a computer, it's only supposed to last 3 or 4 years. It's planned. They build them with planned obsolescence as their modus operandi, as their actual way and philosophy in their corporations. Whereas once upon a time in Tartaria, we would make something to last forever. You didn't want to be the jackass, Smith of town, or the jackass engineer of town that everything you built, fell over in 6 months. You didn't want to be a carpenter that everybody's home you built crashed on them and killed them. You want to be a carpenter that you can say, see that house over there on the hill? I built that 45 years ago when I was a young lad. Right? So why is this horrible world selling us products which diminish and decay and break down? Why do they break down? They shouldn't break down. Why? Make it so that it doesn't break down. Well, that's because they're not allowing the world to have free energy, which is magnetic energy, which is God, which is everywhere. It is omniscient, it is omnipotent, it is omnipresent. Om, the 3 ohms. So essentially, electromagnetism is sonoluminescence, sound and light. But in another format, or in another sense, they are numbers and letters. In another field of science, they are pulses and waves. In another field of science called theology, they are Adam and Eve. Mm-hmm. In another field of science called quantum physics, they are redshift, blueshift. So, there's many ways of integrating all fields of human knowledge, and syncretism is the only way. It's the only inclusive system. There's no other path that will save humanity out of this wretched exclusivism, where everybody else is going to the devil, to hell, because they don't believe what you believe, and yet it's the same teaching. When you do your comparative theology and your comparative research into theology, you will see that all the scriptures speak about the same thing: electromagnetism, sonoluminescence, the pulse and the wave, the numbers and the letters.
It's interesting, isn't it? When I teach, how to live in alignment with the 12 universal laws, and the number one law of all 12 laws is the law of oneness. So it is, in fact, everything is one, an expression of the one, different pieces of the one. So this is really refreshing for so many, because this judgment and this perceived separation between, call it theology, call it philosophy, call it religion, call it whatever, seems to now have this one origin, which I'm really, really excited to hear. There's one of our followers here saying, I've been following you, Santos, since you started your channel, watched every video many, many times. So there's a couple of people already here that know a little bit about what you do. And I want to just ask you one more question before we hop into the uncensored version, where we can really speak our truth, where I'm going to ask you some really awesome question. And the last question that I want to ask you here is, if there's a message that you have to the world right now, in these times, considering what's going on and considering that, the channels that we're on, what would you say that message is, Santos?
I would say learn the truth and expose the lie. And where you can learn the most truth is on my channel, Mr. AstroTheology. That's where you will learn the most truth quicker than anywhere else. I touch on geopolitics, I touch on health, I touch on wealth creation, I touch on astrotheology, astrology, all the fields of science. I am also teaching the true and correct model of the universe, the atom, all is atom, torus fields, electromagnetic fields, the ether. I teach that the ether exists. I teach the true model of the stationary planet Earth that we live on. Everything in this academy, the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy, is correct. It's all the correct way.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So go to that. Can you just repeat that again, Santos?
Syncretism Society Virtual Academy, or syncretismsociety.com, and join the academy, because we've got great instructors there for the alumni. We have about 25 of the world's best, leading in all their fields, alchemy, astrotheology, astrology, and they're all there giving lectures. So you join up and you get a monthly or a yearly subscription, and you get the best. And the prices of joining are a third. We made it a third of everyone else that has a similar platform. There you go, a third.
Cool.
And you get the best teachings in all fields.
Wonderful, Santos. Okay, we are going to pop over to the uncensored version, guys. You'll see a link in the chat section there. There's a link to syncretismsociety.com there for Santos's platform. And to join Dr. ETV in the other chat, there'll be a link in the chat section here. Click that link, pop into the platform there, and let's have that conversation with Santos. I want to ask him some really, really cool questions, primarily around how we can extend life and have a vitality, and what the secret to vitality really, really is. So Santos, thanks again, my man. Thanks for hopping on, and thanks for doing the work that you're doing in the world and sharing what we refer to as this truth. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the uncensored version. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.